Hey guys, how's it going? It's Sir William of York here, and we're taking a look at about a gold Elo Cassidon game that was sent to us. Now, I do believe he's a little bit newer to Cassidon, this gentleman here, so we're going to go a little easier on him. Couple things right off the rip. Not a fan of Doran Shield. A lot of people do it because they feel a little bit more comfortable going Doran Shield. And I personally feel that it just hampers your build path too much, and you don't really get enough value out of it. Right. So what Dora and Shield is it just is like a band-aid fix for poor laning, right? Um, Apologize. It's a little bit laggy, but it's pretty good. Um, I don't mind the rune setup outside of that. I think this is completely fine in the Akali matchup. You could probably run this every game if you wanted. I think it's also fine to go, electrocute with the presence of mind last stand that the Quan Quan followers do. I personally really like First Strike in this matchup. I feel like you don't have good kill pressure on each other if you play like humans. Now, we're playing in Gold Elo, someone will probably kill someone at some point. But yeah, generally speaking, just suggestions for you. Tips for the Akali matchup. So she has better sustain than you, and this is part of the reason I don't really like Doran Shield specifically in this matchup in second win. Just because Akali as a champion, she has one of the highest base health regens in the game, and then she takes second wind in Doran Shield. You can never poke her out of lane. It is what it is. It's fine. You don't need to play that game. You're perfectly happy farming in this matchup, punishing mistakes, and then scaling into the mid game, right? In terms of max order, I mean, a couple points in Q. You can also just do full Emax because you just want wave clear. You're not really going to be trading too much with her. But generally speaking, if you do want to try and abuse her, this matchup is all about tethering. What tethering is, tethering, just in a quick definition, is basically understanding ranges and staying at the exact max range of someone, right? So you got to get really good at understanding exactly what Akali's Q range is and anticipating when she's going to Q you. The only time you usually want to step into it is when you have your Q off CD, right? Now, not a fan of this. The only time, so if you look here and if we look at the map, you can see they walk straight there. The only time that I want us to face check a brush like this is if we're walking directly into it from spawn. And the reason is because even if there's someone there and you get chunked, you probably won't die. You still have time to recall afterwards. So we face check Jarvan here. It's not really like the end of the world for the laning phase, but it's really bad to start the lane down 200 health, right? I like that you didn't use a pot yet because we're laning we're going second wind door and shield. We have a lot of sustain. That's good. We're going to get a lot of passive health, but we are going to want to just chill in the laning phase. I have recently been a big fan of E-Start, and you just get the first 3 melees level 1 if no one hits the wave. I don't really like pushing the wave. Let's see. We started Q. Nothing bad so far. I think you kind of walk into her range for no reason here. This is not a good habit because you don't want to be in her range with your Q off cooldown, right? You're fine trading Q for Q with her if your Q's on CD, but if you're if it's on CD, you can't be in her range, right? And we could have just walked directly back, and for some reason we walked back into her range. So your goal in these sorts of matchups, you're doing a pretty good job of it right now, is to just sit back, farm for 6, and get as strong as a first base as you can. Not the greatest last hitting, but I've been known to make mistakes last hitting. We kind of want to use like an anticipatory Q there because it's very obvious she's walking up to harass you. Now, this is like a cardinal sin. I guess it's kind of okay, but yeah. I mean, so here's the thing. We do get 300 gold, but roaming when your wave is pushing away like this is like a cardinal sin of mid lane. Now, obviously, again, we got a kill here, but there's no reason that Sin should ever die here, because if he legit just keeps walking and flashes over this wall and runs away and recalls, then you just wasted this and you're missing CS mid, right? Obviously, great that we got the kill, but this is just not a fundamentally unsound decision. And even though we got the kill, we're not really ahead off of it. You can see we're down in CS, we're down about 12 CS, and we're actually down in XP. The Akali's level 3, we're level 2. Literally wasn't worth it even getting the kill. So, one of the most fundamental things, a lot of Kassadins that I see, they try and do some freaky shit in the early game, and one of the most fundamental rules of mid lane that I want to instill in every Kassadin, especially like below Diamond, is never, ever leave your lane if the wave is pushing out. Like that. Akali obviously just shoved the wave under tower and made you miss it, but she could have set up a freeze. She could have let the wave push out and just last hit it. I'm not a big fan of that Q usage there. So, really quick. I'm being kind of nice, right? I don't want to be super hard on you because we're clearly a little bit new to Kassadin. I think you have like 2 games played on your account. But we don't really care about damage on her. We're never going to kill her. She's second win, Doran shield. What we really, really care about is our own HP. Right? We want to keep our own HP as high as possible. So I'd much rather you hold this Q for when this cannon's dying and you can just last hit it with Q. Right? Instead, we use the Q on her, which does effectively no damage, right? And then we walk up and auto this cannon with our W and we take damage for it. Okay. But yeah, as Kassadin, into most matchups in the early game, you really, 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 really want to value your HP over the opponent's HP. Because every point of damage they do to you is, like, more valuable, generally speaking, and you don't want to... I mean, solo kills will happen, especially once you understand the lane fundamentals of playing this champ, and you're and playing in lower elo, right? You're gonna find solo kills, but you don't want to go into the lanes with the mindset of, I'm gonna solo kill this guy, because that's not your job. And you don't have to do that to win. Cardinal sin, right here. So, there's good things and bad things about this. Good things. I like that we're trading Q for Q, like the idea of it, right? Because she's taking some damage, we're taking effectively no damage. A cardinal sin here, though, is that this Q accomplishes nothing. We're never going to chunk her out over the course of the lane phase. Just press Q on the minion. You're trading 14 gold here for literally 0 damage. Remember those abilities we cast on her earlier? See how she's literally full HP? That's the fun of laning against Akali. It's very annoying. But in this situation, I would just press Q on the minion. It's much more valuable. Here's the other thing. We don't really need to walk up here and press E on these minions. Remember what I said? Preserve all your HP, right? We don't need to take like half our HP bar in a pot for these 2 minions because the wave's pushing in. You're still going to get them anyway, or get most of this wave. Right? It's about to crash at your tower. There's not really much she can do to, or there's nothing she can do to stop that. It's completely fine to just wait for it to crash and collect what you can under tower. Okay, so we're in a really rough spot in this lane. It's normal to go down some CS on Kassadin, but we missed a lot of free CS and used abilities that should have been used to kill minions to trade. We also missed like an entire wave, right, when we went to go chase that kill. Again, like that's like a cardinal sin of mid lane, right? You basically only ever want to leave lane if it's pushing into you, or you can crash the wave first, or it's frozen, right? Now, this is why I hate Doran Shield, because regardless of the fact that you have Doran Shield or Dark Seal in this lane, you still have to take an early base, and you just have an item that gives you no damage, right? Like, you're set down 500 gold towards your first items, because typically you still want to buy Dark Seal and Refillable at some point. They're just too efficient for you to not purchase them. I guess you maybe can skip Dark Seal with D-Shield. Excuse me, but it's just not a great look, right? And we're basing... I didn't see what the gold was. It doesn't show me the gold. I probably would have just gone blasting 1, especially when you're behind like this. You need to get some damage in your kit because you have no utility, right? I guess we're scared of dying, but I would just go blasting one. I think, especially when you're playing in lower elo, like you want the mindset that if you can get to blasting wand as your first base, you're in a really good spot. Bro, this is so illegal. So we TP back to lane, which is fun. And then we see Singed roaming and doing bullshit. This is like this is like a dream scenario for Singed. Like, all Singed wants to do is get his wave, run around and distract people and force them to miss minions, right? And look at what you do. You go chase the Singed, which, like, how are you ever going to be useful here? You're a level 6 Kassadin, you can't get over the walls quickly enough, and he's probably dead anyway. Or he's just wasting everyone's time. Honestly, the best thing Naafiri can do is just ignore him and sit in mid lane, top lane, and clear the wave, right? People get so mad about proxying, it's insane to me. Because you go get this, you lose this entire wave. So that's now 2 waves that we've dropped in the first 6 minutes of the game to go chase 300 gold. This is completely not worth. And you can see, even though we have a kill and an assist here, because we've missed so much CS, this actually lays it out pretty clearly. Her kill per minute, or her gold per minute, is actually 10 higher than ours. And it's even worse than that because she now has almost a full level lead on you. She probably is like half a level 7 now, right? Which is like really devastating in a Kassadin lane. These sort of matchups, it's terrible, right? And we have no damage in our kit because we didn't go blasting one early, so we're gonna feel like a turd. So yeah, this is just like a terrible situation, and for me, honestly, like this sort of thing is the end of review, right? And the key points for me are going to be focusing around preserving your HP. So like we take a lot of unnecessary damage when we're last hitting, right? That Q is beautiful. That's exactly what we want to see. Never leave lane, especially in the early game like this, because the levels are so important. Never leave lane when your wave is pushing out. So there's something, maybe I didn't adequately explain this well. So there's something in League of Legends called the even minion rule. What the even minion rule says is if you have 2 even wave states, so say you have 6 minions on red side, 6 minion on blue side, they always push away from the side that it's closest to if they're left to their own devices. Now, Akali here mismanages the wave, and what she does is actually she just hard shoves it, and there's really not a point to do that. She should just let it push out into her, and then harass you with the level advantage once it's on her side of the lane, right? But we don't want to make decisions based off of whether or not our opponents are making mistakes. So basically, the reason it's so bad and why the even minion rule says it's so bad to push to leave lane when your wave is on your side like this and it's even is because so say you and Akali both leave the lane for any period of time up until it crashes on the tower. What's going to happen is your wave is going to get really big, and your minions are going to kill all her minions, and if you guys both come back to lane, she is going to get way more minions than you and way more gold and way more XP, right? What's even worse, because Akali didn't leave lane, is if she just holds the wave and freezes it and lets it push into her, right? That's even worse for you. So again, I mean, this isn't just a Kassadin thing, this is a mid lane fundamental thing. Outside of extreme scenarios, especially in low elo, I would just not go for things like this, because there's literally 0 point. All Kassadin or all Singed had to do is flash over the wall and you're cooked. Because you're still going to miss half this wave and he would live. Same exact thing here, right? When we TP and come back to lane, we go chase down minions and we drop an entire wave. So we're down almost 2 full waves of minions 6 minutes into the game. And then the other thing is just thinking a little bit about more about our ability usage pre-6. Right, so pre-6, what we want to do is just press abilities on the minions for the most part, try and focus on keeping our HP high, and last hitting as many minions as possible with our abilities. But yeah, I don't know if this helps, man. Feel free to reach out if you have any other questions. I know you're a little bit new to Kassadin, so I'm keeping this a little bit lighter. Thanks.